Nigel Farage, a relic of empire dressed as a patriot. Nigel Farage walks into the spotlight puffing his chest, armed with tired slogans, fear-mongering speeches, and a face so smug it could be carved into the walls of a colonial museum, right next to the stolen artifacts his ancestors looted. He claims to defend British values, yet his only true skill is barking outdated insults at immigrants while sipping warm pints and pretending it's 1952. He waves the Union Jack like it's still fluttering over a global empire, as if the world hasn't moved on and exposed Britain's colonial crimes, crimes that people like Farage desperately try to whitewash with tweed jackets and pub banter. When Nigel Farage talks about Albanians, he does so with the confidence of a man who's never opened a history book, but with all the arrogance of someone who thinks his ignorance is a virtue. He stands in front of microphones accusing Albanians, many of whom work long hours in the UK's hospitals, farms, and construction sites, of ruining his precious country. Meanwhile, the very nation he defends was built off the backs of enslaved Africans, looted Indians, massacred Kenyans, and betrayed Palestinians. Farage lives in a fantasy where Britain was the noble empire, the same empire that handed over Palestinian land to Zionists, divided the Albanian nation into pieces, stoked famines in Bengal, and celebrated massacres in Amritsar, all without a whisper of regret or apology. Imagine for a moment the absurdity of it. A man whose political career is fueled by imaginary fears about people stealing jobs and benefits, representing a country that literally stole continents. This is Nigel Farage, a man outraged by foreign workers cleaning toilets in Britain, but completely fine with Britain having cleaned out half the planet. His outrage isn't patriotism, it's panic. It's the cry of a man watching the myths he was raised on crumble under the weight of truth. He calls migrants criminals while his political ancestors shipped millions into forced labor. He says Albanians bring crime. Meanwhile, Britain once divided Albania, gifting lands to Greece, Serbia, Montenegro, and Macedonia, all to serve imperial chess games. Albanians were sacrificed at the altar of European diplomacy, their voice silenced by people who looked and thought exactly like Nigel Farage. And not once, has Britain offered an apology for that betrayal. The irony, of course, is that while Farage sneers at immigrants, they're the ones keeping the UK running, often doing the very work Farage and his fan club of flag-waving pub philosophers refuse to do. Albanians aren't ruining Britain. They're fixing its roofs, harvesting its fields, and cleaning up after the mess left by the privileged and clueless. Nigel Farage is not a lion of Britain. He is a parrot of empire, squawking the same tired lines about sovereignty and tradition while standing on centuries of bloodshed, theft, and lies. He is a political fossil desperately trying to stay relevant in a world that is increasingly uninterested in the myths of white supremacy and colonial nostalgia. His speeches belong in a museum, right next to the mummified pride of a fallen empire. So the next time Mr. Farage opens his mouth to lecture Albanians or Palestinians, or any migrant who dares to dream of a better life, he should first look in the mirror and ask, who truly damaged this world? Who spilled the blood? Who stole the land? Spoiler, it wasn't the people scrubbing your toilets. It was the people who built your empire. And Mr. Farage, you're not their heir, you're their clown.